Hi everyone, this is John Daly again with BQB Publishing. Today I'm here with Jana Zinser, author of the award-winning novels Fly Like a Bird and The Children's Train. How are you doing today, Jana?
Great. Thanks for doing this.
Sure thing, sure thing. So tell me a little bit about yourself, your background and your interests.
Sure. I grew up in Iowa, and since Iowa is the first presidential caucus state, I got to meet a lot of the presidential candidates, and I learned to love politics. I know most people don't, but I do. The idea that we can come together and change things, hopefully for the better, I love that idea, and I love trying to make something orderly out of chaos. Then I went to college and I worked for I was the chief of staff for this Iowa Senate Majority Leader. And then I moved to Washington, D.C., where I was a press secretary. I currently live in Colorado, where I have worked for the National Conference of State Legislatures and the Children's Diabetes Foundation. And now I write books and screenplays. I'm developing a TV show. I love to travel. I'm very competitive, so I like card games and board games and sports. And but my passion is stories, to read them, write them, watch them.
Great, great. So in your writing, speaking of storytelling, you do tell stories of young people who are faced with great injustices and battling against all odds. Your book, The Children's Train, Escape on the Kindertransport, is about children fleeing Nazis during World War II. And your book, Fly Like a Bird, is about a young girl whose parents are killed and who fights small town racism in the 1960s. What inspires you to tell these types of stories, and why do you feel they're important?
I love that question. For me, fighting injustice and overcoming all of the great challenges in life that we all have is very, very important and empowering. And I think we need to share these stories. I like to write about all kinds of people, not just things that I have experiences with. But I do think that there's something really special about seeing life through the eyes of a child. The way that we see the world and each other starts, by our experiences as a child. And I think it shapes who we are. The emotions of children are so raw and so open. Everything has meaning, it's so intense. The actions, opinions, friends, kindness, meanness, loss, it's like magnified. So I think it makes a good, strong emotional story.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and you do a very good job of it.
Thank you.
A common thread I noticed in reading the reviews of your latest book, Fly Like a Bird, is that readers who grew up in small towns, like the one depicted in your writing, said you absolutely nailed the characters and the culture and even the era in which the story takes place. How do you manage to write so vividly about small town America from decades past?
Well, they're very kind to say that. Of course, I grew up in a small town in Iowa and loved it. They're my people. But I think most small towns anywhere in any country share some of the same things. Like, we know each other very well. We share similar experiences. And the personal stories that you get to hear of happiness and tragedy and all that stuff, we learn about from each other when we're in a small town. So those sometimes are my favorites. But you do a lot of research, you talk to a lot of people. I love to listen to people tell me about their lives. So for Fly Like a Bird, many of the stories about the Black families came from friends of mine who grew up in that time in a small town in West Virginia. And I read and I listened to a lot of personal interviews online for the Kindertransport story in the World War II book. But I think those same shared experiences, like memories, feelings, it connects us no matter where we are, no matter where we came from, and those are good stories.
Oh, absolutely. So, for you, what is the hardest part of writing novels?
I guess for me, the hardest part is probably, you're gonna like this, John, stopping. Like, you want to keep telling their stories. I hate to leave the characters. I want to find out what they're doing. You know, we've lived with them for so long in writing their tale. They kind of become a part of our lives, and then I kind of miss them when the book ends. Now you've got a series, so you get to revisit your characters, which is yeah, you did that right.
Yeah, no, that's it's interesting writing a series. It's yeah, you can go
Yes.
anywhere you want with the characters after a particular story, and yeah, no, I'm at some point I'll venture out and kind of do some stuff outside of the series, but no, I totally understand what you're saying about kind of growing attached to your own characters.
Right. Right. When you're out and about, do you see things or think? And I think Sean would do. I think Sean Coleman would do that.
I do sometimes, and I sort of think about what would Sean say in a certain situation because the
Right.
way I create him, he's sort of a rough and gritty character. He's not that much like me, but there are times where I sort of think, man, he would have an interesting take on this that
Exactly.
that I would be a little concerned about voicing, myself for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. What would you say is the most rewarding part about writing novels?
Um, I guess I really love the idea that a story can make somebody laugh or cry or be mad or happy. I think that's so powerful. And so I really love to create these characters that people care about or hate. And and then through reading about them, you know, we get to live like a different life and feel and learn new things about people who might be the same or, like you say, different from us. I think it's a powerful experience for both the writer and the reader. I like that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally agree with that perspective. So, well, I want to thank you for your time. It was great talking to you face to face. We've exchanged emails, a number of times, but this is the first time I think we've actually had a face
Yes,
to face conversation. So it was good to get to talk
yes.
to you. Can you tell people how to find out more about you and your books?
Sure, sure. Thank you. The Children's Train and Fly Like a Bird are both online on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Apple, and most of the other online retailers. They're both in ebooks, paperback books. You can order them from bookstores. The Children's Train is available in an audiobook, and Fly Like a Bird's audiobook should be coming out soon. And I have a website at janazinser.com.
Very good, very good. Well, that's where people can go to check you out more. Thank you a lot,
Thank you.
Jan, and you have
Thank
a
you,
great
John.
day. Sure
Very
thing.
kind.